Welcome back to Telltale Books. Continuing my exploration of the complete works of James Tiptree Jr., I move on to Tiptree's third published story, which is called Fault. This was published in Fantastic Magazine, which was a companion to Amazing Stories, in August of 1968. I have the story in the Del Rey Books collection, this side, Warm Worlds and Otherwise. Just a paperback, but it's in pretty darn good shape for a paperback from, when was it, 1979. I did not buy this new, I bought this used. In 1979, I really didn't know much about Tiptree. I think I tried one story and didn't care for it. That changed for me later on when I read some of the stories that were published in the 1980s in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. And that sold me on Tiptree's work and led to why I'm doing this. And going back and reading these very early Tiptree stories, I'm really liking them. Fault starts out on an alien planet. Forget the name of it. But there's a whole ship that's on this planet. And the aliens have the habit of, they have like feelers on their face, and they have the habit of using them to touch people, and are touching all over people's faces. Some people can deal with this. One character just can't deal with it anymore, and he grabs the feelers and pushes them away. Well, apparently touching these feelers does irreparable and extreme harm to these aliens. So they put the guy on trial, find him guilty, and they sentence him and put him through a treatment. And at first he doesn't think there's anything wrong. But then people start to notice he seems to be slow to respond to things. The aliens did something to cause him to become unstuck in time, and he's slipping backward out of time, out of sync with the time frame of the rest of us. And that's his punishment for having assaulted one of the members of their society. This is a really cool idea. It's a short story, so things like world building, characterization, you don't get much of that. But you do get this whole concept of how these aliens use this as a punishment, and they actually have a town in their society where they put all these people who are out of sync in time. Everybody that they've sentenced to this punishment live in this one place. It's a very cool idea, a very cool description of what's going on, and the kind of really unexpected kind of thinking that typically came from Tiptree and makes Tiptree so great and so valuable. It's a definite pleasure to read this story. It's a very fun short story. It's a very cool idea. I really loved it. I don't think it's a top tale. I don't think it's a great classic, but it's definitely a very good story, and I recommend it to people who like science fiction and who can tolerate a short story. And it's short enough that there really isn't any more to say about it than that. Go and read it. And number 4 in my Tiptree series will be Pupa Knows Best, which has an alternate title of Help. So that'll be coming up very soon in my Tiptree series. So like us, subscribe to us, come on back for more. And watch for how we change things. I'm not willing to go into details, but we're going to change things up a bit for 2023 and be doing some different things, some things that I think will help our ultimate goals with Telltale Books. We're called Telltale Books not because we're reviewing books. We're called Telltale Books because we want to publish books. And everything we're doing is inching us closer to that. And if one of us was rich, we'd already be publishing books. Neither of us is rich. We're both very much scraping by. So we don't have the money to just jump in and start publishing our books. We have to raise it slowly, little by little, and get there. So we're working on all that stuff. We're learning things we need to learn. We're reading books and trying to decide what books we want to make Telltale Books. And we're thinking about ways that we can raise some money. We already have an Etsy store. Visit our Etsy store. We've got a lot of great books on there, a lot of great science fiction books on there that are for sale. And the prices are pretty low. The cost of shipping is built into those prices. So you look at the price, it may seem a little high, but you got to remember it costs about $6 to $10 to ship anything these days. And that's just within the mainland United States. Forget talking about overseas. So our prices, once you subtract the shipping, our prices are very low. We're not making much of any money at all. But we are making a little bit of money through our Etsy store, and if people would visit and buy more books, we would make more money off of it, and it would put us that much closer to our ultimate goals. And we have some other things we're going to talk about in January that will also help us achieve our goals and help us to reach that dream of putting in front of you an actual Telltale book that you can buy. So like us and subscribe to us. Check out our Etsy store. Check out our Instagram and Facebook account, YouTube account if you're not watching this on YouTube somehow. And we really sincerely appreciate all the support we get from anybody out there. Till next time, I hope you'll read this story or some other story that you will enjoy.